the camera in a game, the way you see your character and the world around you has a big impact on your ability to play that game. A bad camera makes precise movements more difficult and can be a real annoyance to the player. So what if you were to take a game that's played in a 3D space where you have control over the camera and then removed that control? Can you beat Fallout 3 without moving the camera? The first task is to disable the ability to move the camera. My first thought was to unbind the camera controls in the game settings, but you can't do that. So I went to plan B, using the same program I used to play New Vegas with a Guitar Hero controller. I plugged in a PlayStation 4 controller and made my computer think it's an Xbox 360 controller. Then all I had to do was leave the boxes assigned to the right analog stick empty, and I could play Fallout 3 without even having the option of moving the camera. I couldn't move it even if I wanted to. I had a couple thoughts in my head when I was born regarding the problems I might face. There were a few scenarios that I thought of that might give me trouble. When it came to my name, that was easy. I asked Discord what my name should be. I named myself made sure I had a mustache of some sort. Going through a virtual life without one sounds like hell. And the real game begins. Walking to Dad is easy. The game tried to convince me to use the right analog stick. I can't use that. We all know what happened to the right stick. It killed itself by shooting itself twice in the head and then hanging itself. It was real unfortunate. Then came the problem I hadn't even considered. Your task is to open the playpen gate. But you can't do that when you can't see the fucking gate. And you can't see the gate without turning around. With the knowledge of this single issue deep in your brain, I think you can start to come up with some other problems that might arise fairly quickly. But I tackle issues in life one at a time. I'm not worried about the future. All I cared about was getting on the other side of that 2-foot-tall gate. Jumping over it wasn't an option. I can't jump that high. My last resort, Hail Mary, shot-in-the-dark attempt was to go back to the mouse and keyboard like a PC peasant. Console master race, am I right, fellas? And quick save, quick load my way through the gate. I avoided the temptation of looking around by simply turning off my mouse. Then, I'm not sure what happened. It looked like I jumped over the gate, but I think clipping had something to do with it. Out of the playpen, I went back to the controller and assigned special points. Well, I wanted to. See, to look down at the book, you've got to turn the camera. So I can't do that. I can't assign special points. If I can't use that book, Dad won't come back through the door, and I can't proceed through the game as you normally would. Can you see where I'm going with this? My only choice is to clip through the wall, which will place me at the center of the cell, and you can only be there if the escape quest is active. So I'm escaping the vault and playing the game as a baby, all while not being able to turn the camera. I expected this challenge to be unpleasant, but not for a second did I think this was going to happen. Something else that's not fun is that I can't grab anything from my dresser, so no stim packs, no BB gun, no baseball bat. And because of the freak occurrences that take place when you trigger the escape quest early, there's no vault security to kill and loot. Not that it would matter, I can't use my Pip-Boy since I haven't gotten it yet, and trying to pull up my fists does nothing. Navigating through the vault was slow. The roaches were annoying, but it was manageable. I've played through this game enough times that I know my way around fairly well. The door to the vault holding cells is behind me, out of reach, so getting the Overseer's key wasn't going to happen. I also couldn't open this door on the left to snag the door key or the 10mm ammo that's in one of the lockers. The door to the right was locked, of course, which called for clipping through it. I did, fell through the world, and went back to the center of the cell. The next time I managed to force my little body through the door without embracing the void, got into the office, jumped and activated the terminal, and opened the escape tunnel. The wall panel had to be opened with a switch that was beyond my field of view. Quick saving through it saved the day, and things got real. This was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I need to get past the vault door. Because of where I'm looking, the door control panel is out of reach. I thought for a minute that I might be able to fuse myself with the panel on a molecular level and activate it on the inside. Couldn't. Thankfully, I had a backup plan. Because this is a different area than the vault atrium, clipping through a wall and falling through the infinite nothing places you near the door to the Capital Wasteland. I won't lie, it took me 10 minutes just to find the right position to clip successfully. All that remained was to open the door. I don't think I have the words to describe how unfun this little slice of hell was. Just like any other door, I can't activate it without either looking at it directly or being inside of it to some extent. In theory, this is possible. I can only assume that someone with more talent than me, someone who knows more about these glitches or speedrunning strategies, could do this. Very few things in any challenge have taken as long as this. Actually, I can only think of one thing. I spent close to an hour and a half on one level of Super Monkey Ball 2 a few months ago. Then I got power fucked by a different level and haven't touched the game since. I honest to God was at this door for over an hour, trying to clip through it or just all I wanted to do was open the door. Why was that so hard? I'll tell you why. After probably 30 minutes, I got really frustrated and paused the challenge. I'd been operating under the assumption that what I was trying to do was possible. I needed to know if I did clip through the wall at just the right angle in the right spot, if I could have had the ability to press A to open the door to the Capital Wasteland. And the results will shock you. Future me put an ad right there. The quick and dirty answer is no. I don't think I could have ever gotten it. I used the TCL command to turn off collision and the SGTM command to slow down time. With the game slowed down by 75% and still without turning the camera, the prompt to open the door appeared for maybe half a second while moving. Do the math. At 100%, you're looking at about an eighth of a second window to hit E to open the door. But even then, it was farther backwards than I ever got. It was like in a wood pillar on the left when you're looking at it normally. I could go on about this area, but there's no reason to. I tried for over an hour and never got close to my goal. Maybe you can beat Fallout 3 without moving the camera, but I can't. I wasn't going to let that stop me though. I turned to the left to open the door and finally began assigning special points. Attacks of any kind are effectively impossible. I wanted to talk my way out of any possible situation, so I built my character around charisma and intelligence, picked medicine, speech, and barter as my tag skills, and failed my way into the Capital Wasteland. It's worth mentioning, because it's relevant throughout the rest of this challenge, that opening a door to a new area sort of resets your character. Regardless of where you're looking when you open the door, you're looking straight ahead after you load into a new area. Outside, I leveled up, dumped the points into my tag skills, and began making my way towards Megaton. As a baby, it takes a hell of a long time to get there from Vault 101, and it wasn't made any easier by not being able to look around. After many minutes, I saw the pile of garbage and knew I was home. Then I did something perhaps controversial. I cannot move my camera, but what if the game does it for me? When you talk to someone, you're automatically turned to face them directly. You're left facing a new direction after dialogue is over. I'll put up a poll. If you think I cheated by using that trick, answer the poll as such and feel free to dislike the video. I'm not home free. I'm not even on the goddamn map. My little maneuver had about 51 years worth of drawbacks. Also, shout out to my Pip-Boy that wouldn't work for some reason when I had the PS4 controller plugged in as my method of playing. Back to the hindrances of dialogue, I'm a baby, so almost any time I'm talking to someone, I'm gonna be looking up at them, which leaves me looking up after dialogue is over. It's almost like I can force the game to turn the camera, but the more it turns, the less I'm able to see. I started for Crater Side Supply, and realized about halfway there that I had a couple bullets and a coffee cup or two to my name. I could see almost nothing and afford almost nothing. There was no point in even going there. I fast traveled to Vault 101 and set my sights on Little Lamplight. After everything I'd gone through, my objective was to finish the game by any means necessary, while also expending as little effort as possible. I went ahead and returned to Megaton real quick to talk to someone and get my perspective shifted, giving me a fighting chance, so to speak. Avoiding enemies was not fun, but I did learn that I could use VATS to force the game to turn the camera, for the same reason as dialogue, which also comes with the same set of drawbacks. I don't need to go into too many details, but a funny thing happened as I started heading west. Believe it or not, without being able to really see where you're going, it's easy to get confused about directions and which way you're going. I say that because I might have kinda gotten my directions mixed up or something, and gone the complete wrong way. After passing through Grey Ditch, the most annoying piece of shit in the world spoke to me at just about the worst possible moment. I was now stuck, looking straight down. Several minutes passed. I went back to Vault 101 and began my journey to the west again. For real this time. I found a dead commando with a body I could actually reach and got myself a little bit of armor and a melee weapon. Melee weapons are far more practical than firearms when you can't move the camera. As long as an enemy is close enough to you and in front of you, swinging the sword will hurt them. Of course, I'm a baby and my melee weapon skill is about as low as it could possibly be, and the sword itself only does 5 damage. But it's better than nothing, barely. Over the next 30 minutes, I would kill a mole rat, pass by some train tracks, find a Brahmin that I could use to do more harm than good to my visibility, get down to 2 slivers of health and no stim packs, decide that third-person mode was allowed, don't worry that wouldn't last for very long, and thanks to a series of quick saves, got myself stuck with a group of feral hounds that I couldn't kill and no means of healing myself. It was there I stopped playing for almost 10 days. I came back to it on February 6th with a fresh perspective, ready to make this game my bitch. I'll explain what happened, but just know that I started playing at around 1 PM, and by 5 PM, I'd done enough shots to black out. That's what this game did to me. The first thing I did was successfully get around the dogs. A bloatfly attempted to mate with me, which was real annoying, because I couldn't see it for most of the time. Using my pistol against it was like using a Nerf gun against a cement wall. What happened next shocked even me. I quite literally stumbled ass backwards into little lamplight. That pause you see where I stopped moving was me recoiling in excitement because I couldn't believe what I just did. That excitement would be short-lived. With that location discovered, I returned to Mitten to try to find some way to heal myself. I'd rather light myself on fire and take a salt and lemon juice bath with my body covered in 3rd-degree burns than try to get through Murder Pass as a baby with no health and without being able to turn the camera. Step 1 was terrifying Moira into submission with tales of how Raid Shadow Legends is more of a threat to humanity than Ebola and the coronavirus combined. With the armored jumpsuit in my possession, I bought all the stim packs I could, 4. Somehow got myself into the women's restroom where I drank my fill from the sink. Then came the problem of getting out of the bathroom. The only way out was to wait for someone to enter the bathroom, then use VATS to turn myself around enough to get outside and return to Little Lamplight. Speech allowed me to convince Merriweather to let me inside. It took me several minutes to waddle my way to Murder Pass. Many more were spent trying to glitch myself through the gate. And I did it. I was in Murder Pass. I thought the end was in sight. It wasn't. You can tell by how long is left in the video. I tried one time to kill one of the big orange guys with my pool noodle. Didn't seem to faze him, so I pressed onward. Getting through here without moving the camera would have been hard enough. But what really made it bad was being so slow. The only upside to being small is that there's a decent enough chance that anything attacking you won't hit you. Getting stuck between a few of them didn't help much either. Closer to the vault entrance, I wasn't tall enough to snag the stim packs in the first aid box, but I did manage to get into the reactor chamber. A little trick kept the monsters from following me inside. At first I thought maybe I could skip part of this hellhole by clipping through a wall somewhere and falling deeper into the vault. It didn't because I couldn't do it. I couldn't reach the cardboard bed either. A few rat roaches died in a way that let me rip out their innards for a snack later. With the little supplies I had, I knew there was just no way for me to get anywhere near the Gek. I gave up for the day, went to Taco Bell, picked up some vodka. Should have gotten Svedka instead of Smirnoff, but we all make mistakes. 2 days later, I decided that one way or another, I was finishing this challenge. Let me just say this, I spent the better part of 10 hours playing Fallout 3, and it was horrible. All that time getting to Murder Pass, a waste of time. I reloaded a save from before I entered Lamplight, looted what I could from a nearby shack, and returned to Mitten. My first stop was the clinic to buy some stim packs. I found that I could use a chair to modify where I was looking, which could help me a bit depending on where I find myself. My plan was to get a companion, didn't matter who. Sharon in the underworld had no karma requirement, and Star Paladin Cross had a positive karma requirement. They were my choices. Dogmeat was up there too, but he can die. I had to brute force my way into Moriarty's saloon with no lockpicks because I wasn't going to find the front door. Inside, I said nice things to the freak who's Brad Pitt compared to me, got the pulse charge from Burke, immediately ratted him out to Lucas Sims. Keep in mind 2 things real quick. 1. My head is crippled, which messes with my vision and occasionally causes me to black out. And 2, I'm describing these things that I'm doing. Talked to Gob, talked to Sims, went back to the bar, but every single thing is a monumental pain in the ass. The sheriff dying was a part of my plan. I wanted his gun and the good karma that came from ratting out the killer. Then I killed Burke a couple times to make sure his body landed in such a way that I could reach it. Before leaving town, I stopped by the common house to sleep my concussion away. picked up a few pieces of trash inside that belonged to everyone, therefore I could take them for free. Entered Burke's house, wasn't much in there. Supposedly there was a shotgun in there somewhere, but I couldn't find it. There's also a hollowed out rock behind Mitten, containing a sniper, some ammo, and a few stim packs. I needed as much free shit as I could find. I figured I'd be better off trying to get Paladin Cross first. The Citadel isn't that far away, and I'd need to head there eventually. Might as well have the location discovered now. Again, directions is difficult. I got them confused, wrong ways I went. Thanks to a dog that is now just as dead as mine, I was able to turn myself around and face the right way. Before long, I spotted it just over the hill, the hut that the devil lived in before he made his way to hell. And for once, I thought, I'll let her live, I'll trade with her, I need all the supplies I can get. Grandma Sparkle had other plans. I made a backup save, as I did every 17 seconds, and that bitch crashed the game. It was in that moment I decided she will die. I still traded with her, and by that, I mean I forced my garbage into her body, then I pulled out a gun and blew her goddamn head off. Watching her body spasm was just as satisfying as ever. I picked what I could from her corpse, robbed her cooler, looked through her shack, but didn't find much. The evil of Grandma Sparkle was defeated, so I didn't have to worry about the game crashing, and I continued heading towards the Citadel. I borrowed the supplies of a scavenger I just killed, and I'm not sure what happened next, if I accidentally hit the quick load button, or if I did it as some sort of a strategy. Didn't really matter, I still found myself at the bridge. Normally I'd fight the raiders living under it, but going around it would have taken a lot of effort, so I used the quick save method to avoid fall damage, discovered the Citadel, then continued onwards towards the Jefferson Memorial because why not? Swimming as a baby is difficult. You've got to constantly be jumping like some sort of an aquatic creature to avoid drowning. The second I discovered the memorial, I took the path to the left, under the pipes and whatnot, to get around the building. This one fuck made me so irrationally angry. I used third-person mode just to see that this stupid asshole was running on the water and cheating to hit me. I should have been happy to be beaten by Jesus, but I wasn't. I was about to enter Rivet City when I realized that I couldn't reach the intercom to make the bridge extend. On the plus side, I remembered why I came this way. The passage to the underworld is through the nearby metro station. Once I got inside, I noticed some textures were missing. After drinking from an irradiated sink and discovering that there were a bunch of raiders down there, the game, predictably, crashed. Once I was back in the mine, I tried a bunch of different locations to clip through the wall to hopefully fall deeper into the Quizno station. Just like in Murder Pass, it didn't work out. In the spamming of the buttons, I remembered that my karma was still neutral. If I wanted Star Paladin Cross, my karma would need to be higher. I could either post lame memes on Reddit, or I could kill some raiders. I chose the route with murder in it. With luck at 10, I actually had a somewhat decent chance at killing a few of the raiders. Not many. I didn't want to waste too many stim packs or rely heavily on irradiated water to heal, as that would have made me sick and lower endurance and other stats more than some of them already were. But I had a plan. There was a method to my madness. Acquire items, sell shit, make a profit, buy purified water, donate to Carlos outside Rivet City until I become a prophet. I thought Jenny Stahl and Megaton would have water. She didn't. Then it hit me. I could do what every celebrity or shitty YouTuber does when they fuck up. Just donate to charity. I searched the church for the King Carney. He was nowhere to be found. He was soaking his feet in the drink outside. My 220-ish caps were not enough to make me a genie in the eyes of the church. I would need more. I sold most of the weapons I wouldn't use anyway to Jenny Stahl, got myself up to almost 420 caps, donated all of it to Confessor Cromwell, and ascended to the rank of good. Back to the Citadel I went, ready to get inside, get my companion, and end it all. Here's what happened. There's a spot to the right of the Citadel where you can clip through a pile of rocks, clip through a couple other odds and ends, and find yourself under the Citadel, where you can then enter the Citadel from within the Citadel. Problem is, that's not at all easy when you can't turn the camera. It's very difficult to find the specific spot you can glitch through. Add in the fact that you're a baby, so even if you could find the spot, jumping and getting to it would be more difficult than ever before. What I'm trying to explain to you is, I gave up after about 12, maybe 15 minutes. A wise man once said, "Hi, Billy Mays here," and he was right. There's gotta be a better way. I had the supplies to brute force my way through Murder Pass. What I lacked was the skill, patience, determination, or willingness to do it. I needed to level up to make my weapons at least a little usable against the mutants in the vault. The easiest way I saw to do that was to enter the simulation in Vault 112, beneath Smith Casey's garage, and rescue Dad. That always rewards a nice chunk of experience. A fight with a bloatfly left me with a crick in my neck that lasted a while. It took me a while, but I found Smith Casey's garage. Discovering the location leveled me up. I dumped all the points into small guns, picked Daddy's Boy as the perk to give me a boost to medicine, and entered the building. I left the mole rats alive, just in case I had to turn myself around, and I couldn't reach the button. Brilliant! It was around that time I remembered that I had this problem in a previous video, and came up with no way around it. No point in trying now. Disappointed, but not surprised, I left, tried for a minute or two to clip through the wall at the Citadel, failed, and by the guiding Christmas lights hanging from above, entered Little Lamplight for the last time. I'd reloaded a save to get back to the rocks near the Citadel, so I had to assign the skill points after convincing McCready to let me in. Then, a stroke of brilliance. When I was looking through the list of companions for Fallout 3, I saw a list of temporary companions. Sticky is one of those companions. He's no paladin, but any meat shield is better than none, and, perhaps more importantly, having a companion will give me a reliable way to turn my character around without having to use VATS on something that was trying to kill me. And just in case I haven't made it clear before, allow me to do so now. Without this VATS trick, this run would be 100% impossible. If you're not facing the right way when you enter an area, you won't be able to proceed. This is the only way to make this run somewhat possible. With my new friend, I ventured towards Murder Pass. Would probably give someone a seizure if I sped up this footage, clipped through the gate easily once I found the right spot, and my boy Sticky was nowhere to be found. I couldn't hear any of his stupid jokes, and when I backed up, he was gone. Easy come, easy go. Checking my Pip-Boy, it dawned on me that I maybe should have put more than 4 points into endurance. I wasn't gonna let that stop me. I began running as fast as my little legs would let me. I found that jumping constantly helped me avoid taking damage. I can't confirm if that's actually the case, but it made me feel like it did, and I'm all about ignoring reality if it means I'll feel good. That's why I drink. As a bunch of freaks chased me down a hallway, I pumped a few shots into one of them, which did almost nothing. I had enough bullets to kill maybe 3 in total. This time, I was able to quickly snag the goodies from that first aid kit I missed last time and enter the reactor chamber. I was fairly confident that I could get through it. Looking through all my healing items, I had plenty of ways to heal myself and even a stealth boy to fall back on if I needed to. Tradition forced me to try to clip through any of the walls in hopes of skipping something. There were several minutes wasted that I'll never get back. Getting through here was trickier than I would have thought. If you weren't dealing with the super mutants, you could stop and think about which ways to go, which turns to make. But with them attacking at all times, you've got to rely on your gut, on your instincts, and my instincts are bad. One time I was home alone and lit a glass bowl on fire in the kitchen and burned the shit out of it. My gut response was to bury it in the backyard. I took the wrong turn a couple times, got stuck with the big mean men blasting my little body several times. My head was crippled, then my chest cavity. I found it really funny that because I'm a child, my character will sometimes shout, "Help!" That would sometimes happen right before my skull took a bullet and ended that simulation. You're in a simulation too. Soon enough, I got to the door of all doors, the test labs. Quick saved a bunch of times to keep the monsters from coming after me, and without even trying, clipped through the wall. It took me a minute, but I eventually figured out where in the test labs I was. Backwards walked for a while because there was nobody to help me. Tricked some mutants into opening a door, activated the fire alarm, ran past all the centaurs and into the loving arms of Fox. He'd been freed and will fight for me. With him by my side, getting to the Gek would be a cakewalk. The only bits that had the potential for frustration were when he'd go around the corner. I had to make sure to VATS him once or twice to turn myself around so his ass would never leave my field of view. He took care of all the bad guys real good. I played hide and seek with their dead bodies. He retrieved the Gek for me, and I was on my way. To get from the room where I got the Gek to where the Enclave abducted me took me about 3 minutes. I'm telling you that because I got all the way there and realized I wasn't facing left enough to open the fucking door. So that meant 3 minutes of backtracking towards Fox, using VATS to turn left, then another 3 minutes to get back to the door. These are the kinds of things you get to experience when you torture yourself with a video game. After it took 3 grown men to abduct a baby with a gun, I woke up in their base, retrieved my equipment, leveled up, dumped all the points into medicine, picked educated as my perk, did the first and last charisma check on the Enclave officer to convince him that I'm big important, and waddled towards the president's office. You might be surprised how easy, relatively easily, it was for me to get to the control room, where the sentry bots would protect me. I thought carefully about which way I'd have to face to ensure that I could talk to the president once I scaled all those stairs. I talked to him, scienced the shit out of his head, and had to go back down the stairs, VATS a robot to turn around, then go back up the stairs again to begin my escape. Escaping was about as difficult as it was making it to the office. Sentry bots and turrets did a lot of the work. I actually did some shooting, snagged a bunch of ammo, another missile launcher, a Gatling laser gun, blacked out briefly, and escaped out into the new world. Fox was there to rescue me, and because I'd been a shining beacon of humanity, never hurting a fly, he decided to come with me. I returned to the Citadel, and Sticky was back! But there's always good with the bad, even the sticky kind of good. The task at hand is the one that defeated me in another life, getting into the Citadel. At first, I decided against it. I thought maybe I could just make the game end whether it wanted to or not. We, myself, Fox, and Sticky, walked around the barrier that hasn't been put up yet because the war itself hasn't started yet either. Entered the Jefferson Memorial. Nobody was home, so I used that moment to get an action shot of our heroes with the TFC-1 command, and entered the rotunda to end it all. A funny thing happened in there, something similar to what's funny about all my videos. Nothing happened in there. A whole lot of nothing. I did a few things, tried glitching myself inside the console to see if I could push the buttons from within the console, because remember, as a baby, I can't reach the buttons. After maybe 15 minutes of trying a bunch of different things, I managed to jump and reach one of the lowermost buttons, and I can't activate them because there is no power. If I'd knocked out Colonel Autumn, I might have been able to make the game think the console had power. That's how speedrunners do it, but I didn't find a way to reach the middle or top keys. It was a waste of time. My only remaining choice was to clip myself through those rocks from earlier to get inside the Citadel. And, unfortunately, I'm not going to spend all that much time on this. It took me about an hour to do this. I think the first clip through the rocks to fall to the lower level that you don't normally see was just dumb luck. And once I got closer, the only reason I was able to turn around was because Fox happened to spawn nearby. I guess because I hadn't told him to wait, and if you're far enough away, a companion will just spawn near you. This was about the least fun thing I've ever done in a video. There were some really frustrating bosses in Borderlands 2 and Doom 2016. King DDD in Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland wasn't super easy. Some stealth sections of Far Cry 3 were a pain in the ass, but nothing like this. Most of what you're doing here is walking into an invisible wall, spamming quick save, quick load to see if you can make something happen, and if not, you move and try somewhere else. It's hardly even gameplay at that point. But finally, with Sticky acting as the light at the end of the tunnel, I was able to reach the door to the Citadel, enter the laboratory, get myself a sweet suit of power armor, level up, and take back America. Fox's big dumb stupid body blocked the fucking stairs. That was great. For some reason, the invisible barrier wasn't in front of the Citadel. Usually, when you don't do the Madison Lee escort mission to get inside, there's an invisible wall that's left up when the gate is lifted. But that wasn't there. Also, Liberty Prime wasn't moving. Why would he be? It was foolish of me to expect the ending of this game to work properly after everything I'd just gone through. I fast traveled and relaunched the game to see if it fixed anything. It didn't. I also thought about maybe running towards the memorial and doing all that stuff again. But instead, I acted with my brain for the second time in my life and simply went back to when I first arrived at the Citadel, met Sarah Lyons again, waited for Liberty Prime to be moved properly, went back outside, and that big beautiful bastard was doing his job. You know how I feel about following Liberty Prime. No need to mention it again. He thankfully didn't shut down or glitch out enough to break the game. The gang and I arrived at the Jefferson Memorial and entered it for the last time. I let Fox and Sarah Lyons do most of the work. There was no way I was capable of doing anything to those Enclave soldiers in power armor. And Sticky died. Just like the purple guy said in the Star War, I've lost a lot too. I wore Sticky's party hat to carry on his legacy, and once again entered the rotunda. For the first time and last time, I used the missile launcher. I blew up Colonel Autumn. Fox and Sarah cleaned up the stragglers, and I had one last call to make. I let Fox go in to activate the purifier, solely because I'd never done that before. Probably. That's about right. Probably. Don't assume that to be 100% true. I didn't check to see if I'm right. And I did not beat Fallout 3 without turning the camera. Holy hell, what a nightmare. Please, for the love of God, don't ever try this. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Join the Mitten Squad Discord server through a link in the video description. Thanks to the Champion tier supporters as well as other channel members for making videos like this one possible. Follow me on Twitter @Mitten Squad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.